In this video, we're going to learn about multiplying two-digit numbers. Starting on this example, we're going to try multiplying 24 times 12. So whenever we do multiplication with two digits, we only look at one value here on this bottom row. So at first, we're going to ignore this 1, and we're going to look at the 2. And so we're going to multiply, just like we did before. How do you multiply by 2 first? So we start by looking at 2 multiplied by 4, which is going to be 8. Then we look at 2 times 2, and we know that that is going to be 4. Now we can erase all of this line now, and now we've already looked at the 2, so we'll ignore that 2. And now we're going to multiply by this 1, and we are going to multiply it across, but there's a little trick involved first. Every digit that we have at the bottom, what we need to do is we'll have to put a 0 here. Okay, it's just part of the trick, and with that, now we can multiply 1 times 4, which is 4. And then we multiply 1 times 2, which is 2. With that, we add both of these rows together. So 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 2 is going to be 2. So our answer for 24 times 12 is going to be 288. Now let's take a look at this example here. We have 45 times 21. Now whenever we multiply, we look at this bottom row, and we're going to look at each individual value first. So we'll look at the 1 first, which means we're going to cover up that 2. So now we have 1, and we're going to multiply it by 5 and by 4. So we start with 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, now that we've multiplied by 1, we can do the same on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover up the 1 now, and now we're going to multiply by the 2. Now before we actually multiply, we need to put a 0 again, because in the value that's next, we have to put a 0 here. Now we're going to multiply across. We'll start with 5, and then we'll go to 4. So 2 times 5 is going to be 10. So put the 0 here. Remember, whenever we have a carryover of the 1, we have to put it at the top. So now we have 2 times 4, which is 8, plus that 1, which we carried over, is going to be 9. If we add it all up, we're going to get 5 plus 4 plus 9, which is going to be an answer of 945. Okay, now let's try this one, 33 times 11. So again, we start with the value on the right. We ignore the 1 on the left here. So 1 times 3 is going to be 3. 1 times 3 is going to be 3. Okay, now we're going to ignore the 1 that's on the right side. We're going to multiply the 1 that's on the left. And before we do that, we need to take a 0, put that 0 here. Now multiplying across, 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. If we add this all together, 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus a 3. So the answer is 363. Now we'll try it here on the right. So we have 85 times 52. We start by multiplying the value of 2 onto the top on both values. So 2 times 5 is 10. Put a 0 here. We have to carry the 1 on top. So now we have 2 times 8 is 16. So we have a 1. We have 1 plus 6 is 7. We have to carry that 1 over from the 16, drop it down. So now that we multiply by the 2, we're going to have to multiply by the 5. So ignoring the 2, we'll multiply 5 times 5. But before we do that, we need to put a 0 here. 5 times 5 is 5. And that's going to mean that we'll have to carry that 2 from 25, put that up here. So now 5 times 8, that's going to be 40. So we'll put a 0 here. We'll put the 4 to the left of it. So now we have 2 plus 0, which is equal to 2. Now we take that 4, and we're going to bring it down. Okay, so we'll have the 4 here. We won't put the 4 right here. We're going to have to put it to the value that's on that second row. So now when we add this all together, we're going to get 0. 8 plus 5 is 12. Okay, we got 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2, that's 4, and then another 4. So the answer is 4420. Okay, now let's try this. So we have a value right here, which is 0. Well, now if we want to multiply this, we're going to start with that 0, and we'll multiply across those two values. But that's going to give us 4 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0. We're going to go then to 1, and we'll multiply across here. So we put a 0 right here, then we multiply 4 by 1, which is going to be 4, and then 3 by 1, which is going to be 3. So the answer, 340. Now moving on to this one, we have that 0 here at the top. So again, we always start with the value on the right at the bottom row. So we're going to go 2 times 0, which is 0, then 2 times 8, which is 16. Now that we multiplied with that, now we're going to go with the 5. So we put a 0 right here, then we start multiplying. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. If we add that all together, we're going to get 0, 6, 1, 4. So 4160.